In this video, we are going to talk about that annoying elephant in the room, imposter syndrome. Yep, that voice that tells you that you're not good enough, tells you that you don't belong in that room. It tells you that you cannot take that stage no matter what you do. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 realizations that's going to change the way you see imposter syndrome and 2 ways that can help you combat it. Okay, now, you're not going to completely get rid of imposter syndrome, okay? But we can quieten that inner critic. That's what we aim to do, is to quieten it over a period of time. So, who am I? I'm Rebecca. I am a mother of 2. I just turned 45 and I am rewriting my life. I graduated from my Global Executive MBA recently from ESA Business School, and I have just started my business, helping people go through exactly the same journey I went through to get into top business schools to do the executive MBAs. And I'm doing all of this while working full time with my 2 kids, my husband, and just life in general, right? Because life just throws things at us from time to time to keep it interesting. Anyway, so I am rewriting my life because I am pivoting from my main career, which has been in real estate for the past 20 years, and I'm going solo into this coaching consultancy business of helping mid-career professionals get into top business schools to do the executive MBAs. So, back to imposter syndrome. Now, I talked about 3 realizations that would change the way you look at imposter syndrome. Number 1. Imposter syndrome is born out of fear. Okay? It is born out of fear. Imposter syndrome in its raw state is anxiety. Okay? It's anxiety. You have this inner critic that just wouldn't keep quiet, and it keeps telling you that you cannot achieve things. You can't be in that room. That room you've actually worked quite hard to get to. You finally get there and suddenly you panic. You're scared. You don't think you're good enough anymore. You look around the room, you think, I'm not smart enough to be in this room. Okay, so it is born out of fear. Now, an important fact about fear is that fear is a mechanism that is designed to keep you safe. Okay, it's designed to keep you safe. So anytime you step outside of the confines of what you know, you will feel fear, okay? Because it's the unknown, right? Fear basically is there to ground you and to say, whoa, are you sure you really want to step outside of this comfort zone? Are you sure you want to step out of this cocoon because you've never been there before, right? Fear is not your enemy. Is designed, it's an innate function that helps keep us safe. Okay, so when you understand this about imposter syndrome, you start realizing that it is common to feel imposter syndrome. Because now this is going to take us to number 2, right? Because number 2, imposter syndrome tends to happen when you step outside of your comfort zone. Okay, it happens when you push yourself to a point where you are challenging yourself out of the ordinary, doing something out of your norm. Okay, so the other side of imposter syndrome is growth. Because you're challenging yourself to achieve something that you don't normally like, is not something you're used to doing. Okay, so for instance, you are challenging yourself to, I don't know, run 10 miles when all you've ever done is 2. That inner critic is gonna start shouting very loudly and start saying to you, I don't think you can do 10 miles, girl. You've only done 2. Why are you trying to do 10 miles? Just stick to what you know. Stick to 2. Okay, so imposter syndrome. Now, this is the second point, and while we're on this second point, I want to talk about, relate it to myself. When I did my Global Executive MBA, Okay, I felt imposter syndrome big time. I was in a room full of very smart people. Okay, there was 39 of us, and we represented 29 countries. We came from all over the world, and we covered every spectrum industry you could think about. And these guys were on point. These guys were, they'd achieved, my classmates, they'd achieved a lot. Some of them were CEOs, company owners, family business, so you name it. We had a great mixture in our class. So I would feel when it got to like classroom participation, I would often feel that my points weren't valid. I feel like my points were probably just not as good enough as some of my peers. Yeah, and even when it came to like group discussions, because we worked in groups a lot, they love the group thing. I mean, MBAs, they love a group, right? So they'll put us in groups and we have to have like group discussions, and they'll give us like set questions when we cover cases. And I just always felt like inadequate. I felt like, I wasn't good enough to be in those rooms. Now, when I started feeling like this, what I did, this is going to take us to the two things that we need to do to combat imposter syndrome. But one of the things I started doing was I started to talk about it. I started to talk to my classmates about some of the things that made me uncomfortable. And guess what? I wasn't alone. So, but I want to come back to this because this is me jumping the gun, and this is like part of the two things we need to do to combat imposter syndrome. Now, the third realization about imposter syndrome, I kind of mentioned this already actually, is the fact that 70% of people in the world have felt or are feeling imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. What does that mean? That means that you aren't alone, okay? There are lots and lots of people who feel the same way. In fact, that person that you really admire, right? Those people that you think they are the bomb, like, they're so smart, right? Or that, that everything they touch turns to gold. I bet you that if you ever take the time to speak to any one of them, some of them would have probably experienced imposter syndrome, or they may even be experiencing it, but most people don't talk about it. Okay, so these are the three realizations born out of fear, right? And we understand that fear is designed, right, to keep us safe. Okay, now the second thing is that it happens when you are stepping out of your comfort zone and you're pushing yourself. And the other side of it is growth. Third thing is that you aren't alone, because many people feel it too. So it's not uncommon. Now let's move to the two things that you can do to combat imposter syndrome. Number one, talk about it. Yeah, just as simple as that. Talk about it. You will be surprised when you start talking about your fears, when you start talking about your imposter syndrome to other people in the room with you, that half of them feel the same. And suddenly, you don't feel alone anymore. Suddenly, it's not such a big deal anymore. Suddenly, you feel like, oh, so Gary was feeling like that, or Jeanette was feeling like that. I really look up to these guys and they feel the same way I feel. So I can do it. That's how you're going to start feeling when you speak to people and you realize that you're not alone. So I would encourage you to discuss it and to talk about it. That's what I started doing. I just started openly, obviously not in a whole room full of people. I'm like, oh, yo, I'm feeling imposter syndrome today. No, when you have like your moments of one-to-one like discussions with various people in the room, just talk about it naturally. And trust me, you will be surprised at what comes up. Number two, we know that the only way to combat fear, say some of us know this, the only way to combat fear is really by doing. You're not going to get away from this, right? I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you have to do in order to get to the other side, right? There's a great book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. That's what you've got to do. You're going to feel that fear. That voice is going to tell you that you're not good enough. And guess what? By realizing that you're not alone, that's going to propel you to take the baby steps to just go ahead, one foot in front of the other, and do it. Now, this is an interesting thing that I do, right? And I'm going to suggest this for you. I actually name my inner critic. So my inner critic is called Letitia. Okay? So Letitia is loud, very opinionated, and she thinks she's the boss, basically. So every so often I've got to tell Letitia, girl, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I know that I can do that thing. So Letitia, just go sit down in the corner over there and let me do my thing. Try naming your inner critic. Just have fun with this, okay? And when that voice starts getting really loud, you tell whatever you call your inner critic, right? Benson, Gary, Tanya, whatever you want to call it, tell them to shut up, okay? And tell them that you're going to do your thing despite what they're saying, right? So if they want, they can talk all they want, all day long, but you have got this. You have got this, okay? Now, I believe in you guys. I really believe in you, okay? You need to believe in you. You've got this, guys. Go conquer that room. Go rule the world. Go make changes. Because guess what? You have earned your seat in that room. You've earned your seat round that table. You have done something that has enabled you to get to that stage. Don't forget that. You've got your skills, right? You've got your knowledge, right? People cannot take that away from you. Yes, some people might be better at certain things than you. That's okay. That is life. You cannot be great at everything, but you've got to learn to harness the things that you are good at. You've got to be self-aware and understand what you're good at. And that is what you bring to that table. That is what you bring to that room. So guys, you got this. And until next time, take care. God bless.